house. I'm alone.
Family isn't just blood relatives. You've got me and 60 brothers.
1, 2, 3.
You may know his face from things like Meet the Browns, NCIS, Footloose, Star Trek, just to name a few. Currently he's working on a film titled When the Game Stands Tall, and he'll tell us a little bit about that a little later. But the first question I want to jump into is, when did you get your start?
That's a very good question. I really don't know how I started in film, but I started acting when I was 12 years old. My mom was a drama teacher at my middle school. I helped her rewrite a classic play, Cinderella, but we made it current for 2000 at the time. And somehow I memorized the entire play, and I was reciting it in the kitchen one day, just, you know, goofing around, and she was like, "You should audition for this play." And I was like, no way. I was super shy, super introverted kid, so that was out of the question for me. Anyway, she convinced me to audition for the play. She had like a panel of people who cast her plays, and I got cast as the understudy for the lead. Unfortunately, the lead got sick, and I ended up taking over the entire production. So I did all the shows. I fell in love with stage. Somehow, like, all the fear would just fall off me as soon as I get on the stage, and I felt alive. But at the same time, I was very cerebral about education and everything, and so I didn't think there was any true future as far as a career in film or anything like that. So I continued to pursue education, and I wanted to be a cardiologist. So I did my first 2 years of college as a biology major, and my goal was to be a cardiologist. Somehow after my second year in college, I got an opportunity with my girlfriend at the time to be in a talent show at Disney. And I got chosen out of, like, I think 1,100 people were there. They chose 90 people to be in the talent show, and I did the talent show and got a scholarship to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, and packed my bags up that summer and never looked back.
Next question would be, as a relatively new face, what are some of the constant challenges that you face?
Constant challenges, just like any other business, you constantly have to try to prove yourself in order to be elevated and to get to the next level and the next step. So I would say that would probably be the biggest challenge, is constantly proving yourself to casting directors, to agents, to producers, to directors, and just letting them know that you can handle the task that's at hand. Because, you know, a lot of times when it comes to film and TV, you have a lot of people investing a lot of time and a lot of money. You know, it's a business at the end of the day. So they want to know that they can trust you to make their investment back and then some. So you're just constantly trying to prove yourself and show them that you are worth their time, money, and effort. And, you know, that work begets work. So once you start building up those relationships, in the long run, it can pay dividends, and you can get more work eventually.
All right. What advice do you give to old and young actors alike?
I try to steer away from giving people advice, because I don't ever want to come off like I think I'm more wise than anyone. But being that I'm in a blessed position, and I've been blessed to work a lot over a relatively short amount of time, I live by something that I personally call the 3 Ps, which is personality, perseverance, and punctuality. With film, you're going to be on set with people for 18, 20 hours a day. Sometimes you want to be on set with someone who you can get along with. So personality goes a very long way in building those relationships on set. People want to know that you're going to come to set prepared, to do your job, but also to, have somebody to talk to. At the end of the day, you want to hang out with somebody or work with somebody that you might want to grab a beer with or watch a game with afterwards, have a conversation with, maybe. So personality is huge. Perseverance, again, just like any other business, you want to last, so the race is not given to the swift or the strong, but to he who can endure. So a big part of acting, of making it in this business, is persevering, because a lot of people fall off early in the first 5 or 10 years of their career. because it just gets too stressful. But if you can really persevere to the end, it'll pay dividends for you as well. And you know, those opportunities are going to come as long as you're prepared. The last one, punctuality. Punctuality is huge. You know, as artists, a lot of times entertainers are fashionably late, or you know, don't respect time as much. But I try to take it upon myself to make sure that people who are investing their money and their time into me know that I'm not taking it for granted. So if I have an audition at 12, I try to get there at 11:50, 11:55, just to let them know that, you know, I care that you're giving me this opportunity, and I'm going to make the most out of it, and I'm going to do the same thing on set as well. So, you know, that goes a long way.
Going forward with that, actors that you may have looked up to, I know you have parents as role models, but actors that you may have looked up to.
I would be remiss to not mention Will Smith. Obviously, he has been probably the biggest influence on my acting career because of his versatility. You know, from doing music to comedy to drama to sci-fi, he's dominated in every single arena that he's ever put his hand to. He has the Midas touch. You know, and now he's a super producer with Overbrook Entertainment and everything. Watching him growing up as a kid, you know, watching Fresh Prince and you know, Independence Day and Enemy of the State, movies like that really influenced me to do what I do today. But Denzel Washington as well, you know, when I saw him in Glory for the first time, it really touched me as a kid. I didn't even know that I wanted to be an actor until I saw him in those films, and it has really influenced me as an adult. And I take pieces of what both of them, you know, bring to the screen, and charismatically, you know, the personalities and everything. They mean a lot to me as an actor. But there's so many more. You know, Josh Hartnett and Morgan Freeman, and I mean, the list goes on. I'm a fan of film, of TV. Yeah.
You've worked with some very, very talented actors, some very, very talented directors and producers and whatnot. I'm not going to ask you to give me your favorite, but what experience do you think you've taken the most from? I know all of them have been rewarding, but which one can you point to and say, I really, really got something there?
Yeah, well, first let me just say, like, I have to give huge props and ovation to Craig Brewer for giving me my first big opportunity in Footloose. I will never forget him or that experience till the day I die. But up to now, my most memorable experience with the director has been J.J. Abrams on Star Trek Into Darkness, which is actually my shortest time on any set as well. I mean, I worked on the film probably for about 5 weeks. But during that 5-week span, I got to watch J.J. Abrams, who is a genius and a savant for film right now. He's really just been doing his thing for the past, you know, 20 plus years. Watching the way that he conducts his set it was kind of life changing, you know, because at some point I want to get behind the camera. I want to be on the production side of things. I'm a really big advocate in believing that if you have happy workers, you're going to have a happy business, and the same works in film as well. He treats everyone on his set with such extreme respect. He doesn't micromanage. He knows that everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, and it's going to run smoothly without him having to force these people into doing it, because he constantly hires the same people over and over again. So they feel a sense of loyalty to him. He does the same thing with his actors. You know, he hires the same people over as well. So I'll take a lot just from seeing how smooth his set was run. You know, he's in the middle of takes, he's beatboxing and playing Michael Jackson music. You know, you would never think this. Hey, this is a $200 million movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? He goes about it so smoothly, so coolly, and that's why these huge production companies trust him. You know, with their projects. So that was probably the most positive experience I've had so far, and the most I've taken away from any set.
Is there any type of ritual that you do before auditions?
Ritual before auditions. I usually try to find a doll of the casting director and stick pins and needles in it. No. My ritual, I try to keep it really light because I put a lot of pressure on myself naturally. So I just make sure that I know my script inside out. I don't try to embody any character. That's not what I do. because I'm me at the end of the day. So I try to take bits and pieces of that character's personality and intertwine it with my own, you know what I mean? Because I'm a representation of me, but I'm also representing that character. I'm not being that character. So I just try to bathe in that. I'll watch a basketball game and look at my script and stuff. I try to always get a good night's sleep before, and just wake up early the next morning, look over, you know, my sides again, and just go about my normal routine. You know what I mean? I don't try to put any more pressure on it than it already is. And then I go in there, I do my best as always, and then I leave it there. You know what I mean? Because I have no control over anything except for my own preparation. So I just try to give it my all, and then, you know, push it out of my head sometimes. But.
Final question would be, when the game stands tall, what can we expect from this movie?
With When the Game Stands Tall, everyone can expect to see an image of themselves. It's a story that I think that everyone can relate to. It's a story about overcoming obstacles, about turning children into adults, about bringing out the best in people. Football is kind of a backdrop of the movie. Although there is a lot of football, there's some hard hits, there's some really, really great stuff that we're doing with amazing cameras and an amazing stunt director in Alan Graff. But the movie is really about the human condition and about, you know, caterpillars turning into butterflies, you know, at the end of the day. So it's going to be a really, really impactful movie. Along the lines of Remember the Titans and Friday Night Lights, but with more of a sense of community and brotherhood that the coach is able to bring out in these players. So I'm really excited to see it. Go out and see it in September of 2014. Coming to a theater.
Sometime, the moment we anticipated. Brothers to my right, to my left, and we've been through the blood, sweat, tears, but still we made it. With the odds against and when the chips were low, man, we just took the blow and then we got back up on our own 2 feet. Tested our will, then it tested our strength, and it tested our heart, but now it ain't hard to see. We belong at the top where the shine don't stop, cause our grind don't stop and the climb won't stop. Yeah, we always on the move, we were never made to settle. Tallest mountain, it was made from a pebble, so through the rain, through the shine, always got my brother's back and he's got mine. And I know even when it gets tough, ain't nobody stopping us, cause we know it's our time. Let's go. We gon' shut it down when the game stands tall. We gon' shut it down when the game stands tall. We gon' shut it down when the game stands tall. We gon' shut it down. We gon' shut it down.